Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Welcome once again to the Dr. Sky Experience, heard exclusively here at Talk Radio 77 WABC. As we like to say, and many around the nation would agree, the crown jewel of radio, the iconic 77 WABC, broadcasting proudly out of New York, around the nation, around the world, and I'm even confident out into the cosmos. Welcome to another edition of the Dr. Sky Experience as we update you on some important astronomical events as we move into the month number 9, September 2023. And in this short but important report, we'll be focusing on a comet. Now let's remember that comets are the debris left over from the creation of the solar system, and they harbor in an area well beyond that of the then planet Pluto, now dwarf Pluto, out in a region called the Kuiper Belt. There are probably hundreds of millions of these chunks of ice, maybe ranging up from the size of a small automobile all the way up to a city-sized asteroidal type body. And ever so often, the hand and gravity of the sun pulls these objects in toward us. Don't fear, because comets have been traveling through the solar system for billions of years. But we welcome you to a new one, a comet known as C-2023 P1, simply known as Comet Nishimura, discovered by an amateur astronomer back on August the 11th of this year. This comet has the promise of potentially being something that you may be able to get to see with the naked eye under the darkest of conditions with no moon. But being the eternal optimist that Dr. Sky is, a pair of binoculars during this particular week is probably going to give you your best advantage of seeing this interloper into the solar system. The comet will be closest to the Earth on September the 13th, at a safe distance of some 79 million years. And the best time to view it would probably be around the time of September the 17th. Now that is, if your skies are clear. Moonlight, of course, should not interfere as we move to the new moon period around the 15th of the month. But what will happen in the early morning sky up till about the 17th, the comet will be transitioning from the constellation Leo the Lion and moving into Virgo the Virgin, which means on or about the 17th, the comet will then transition into the evening sky and possibly be low in a pair of binoculars in the west just after sunset. More details on this particular comet can be found at one of the great websites that we promote here on the Dr. Sky Experience, and that is theskylive.com. Just type in your browser theskylive.com, and you'll go to a most amazing website giving you information not only about the details of these astronomical events, but also in a visual sense. Let's say you're a telescope viewer and you want to look at a star field. You want to find an object like this comet. It will give you 2 or 3 different dimensional views of it, how to find it with the naked eye, a pair of binoculars, and then what star field is it in, for those of you out there that are more sophisticated and have more serious telescopic equipment. The comet itself is quite interesting. In the simplest way that I can say it, it may get to near naked eye brilliance, but don't count on it. Observers are telling us around the world that the comet has a tail of about 1 degree in length. But let's talk a little bit more about cometary tails. There are a number of comet-type tails. The most significant is a dust tail, usually easiest to see and probably brightest. There's also something called a plasma tail, as material is, of course, streaming through the solar system, and the excitation of those photons and those protons on the surface of the comet. Remember, the comet is just an ice-covered chunk of ice and rock, like a very icy asteroid body. And once the temperatures of the sun heat it up, something happens in the physics world that's even more amazing. We know there's liquid, there's solids, and there's gases. But how about this? When some of those very high-heated energetic protons hit the surface of that icy comet, the comet transitions from ice to gas and bypasses the liquid stage. For those of you physics fans out there, you might remember the term is called sublimation. But comet tails can be quite interesting. I remember observing, maybe many of you out there, some comets over history that have had extensive lengths. Let's go back to the year 1996 when Comet Yagutake was visible. I remember from the Arizona desert, no exaggeration needed. The comet tail stretched about 160 degrees across the sky. Almost in the dark of night, looked like there was a serious aircraft up there with a gigantic contrail. No, that was an object some 8 to 9 million miles away and producing a tail in space that was hundreds of millions of miles long. Comets have always been very much in the news. We know the great history of mankind's comet, Halley's Comet, which won't return to us till the year 2061 or so, and hopefully you will be around to see it. I don't think I will because I'm 67 at this point. But the important thing about comets, sometimes in history they've been referred to as portents of doom. Well, I don't think so, but in history, if you do the research, comets have always put fear into humanity, and there's great stories about it. We'll continue with the Dr. Sky experience by reminding you of the position of the moon. The moon now goes to new on the 15th. For those of you looking to the skies for very faint celestial objects like galaxies, clusters, and such, that particular time period around September 15th just has your name written all over it. The moon then continues to wax in our sky. The moon will be near the planet Mars, which is very low in the northwest in the evening, on the evening of the 16th. We find out the moon is near the brilliant star Spica in the constellation Virgo as we move on to the 17th. The moon passes the brilliant supergiant star Antares in Scorpio as it continues to race around us on the 21st. First quarter moon again on the 22nd. But how about this? As we move on to the autumnal equinox on the 23rd of September, we find out that another of the great and the last for this year of great supermoons will occur on the evening of the 29th. I'm referring to the beauty of the super full harvest moon, one of the most beautiful and romantic moons of all time. What makes a harvest moon so special? It's the moon that's closest to the autumnal equinox. And in days gone by, when we were much more of an agricultural society, you could harvest crops by the light of the moon because the moon will be in the sky soon, if not already, at the sunset time, giving farmers of the time the obvious ability to harvest crops, that is, with the beautiful full moon, by the light of the moon itself. Don't forget to join us on the Cats Roundtable every Sunday with owner John Katzimatidis, and also every other Wednesday morning as we move through time and space with Frank Morano on the very popular show here on Talk Radio 77 WABC, The Other Side of Midnight. Frank gives us permission to change the name of the show, albeit just temporarily for that 1 hour, to The Infinite Side of Midnight. If you have any questions or comments, my email is simple. It's drsky, DRSKY show, @gmail.com. What do we always remind you? Simply, always remember to keep your feet on the ground, but your eyes to the skies. And every time I do these programs, I'm simply trying to earn your confidence to be your navigator on the highway to the heavens. Good luck in seeing Comet Nishimura. Many more comets and other, amazing celestial objects are going to happen during the next couple of months. And don't forget, put it on your calendar, no matter where you're listening, the big annular eclipse of the sun that occurs for much of the United States in the western region on Saturday, October the 14th, but the big granddaddy of total solar eclipses. Still time to prepare, and we'll be doing a lot about it. That is, as you move toward April 8, 2024. Clear skies and health to all. Thank you for listening to the Dr. Sky Experience here on Talk Radio 77 WABC. Literally the crown jewel of radio, the iconic 77 Talk Radio with the Dr. Sky Experience.